Hey, what's going on? I'm starting this channel basically to help anybody involved with adoption. And with this video, I wanted to be talking about what the adoption fog is. I just turned 39 a couple days ago. So I'm currently 39 years old. I just came out of the adoption fog last year. Probably over the past 6 months, maybe a year, I started processing what was going on in my mind. I wanted to talk a little bit about that and help anybody else that could be stuck in the middle of that. And pretty much what the fog is you're being gaslit unintentionally. Most of these people that are talking to us as adoptees have no awareness of the reality of adoption. And I can only speak from my experience, so I can't really speak on every adoptee experience, but mine, I was adopted at 4, fostered till 4, adopted at 4. I am brown, I am Latino, and my family was Caucasian. I was the only one adopted into the family. I had 2 sisters and 2 parents, mom and dad that raised me. They are my family. I consider them my family, but I also have a biological family. And I grew up extremely confused. My parents didn't explain to me anything about race. I asked all the normal questions that every adoptee would ask. Everything was met with, what am I? You're American. They didn't explain to me anything about race. So I was very confused. Didn't know that I was really, how to call myself a Latino and Hispanic or whatever, and learn about it until I met my biological family at 21. So I was stuck in this fog where everybody's telling me certain things. You should be grateful. Aren't you grateful to be adopted? Well, you're being ungrateful. But the reality is we're dealing with adoption trauma and being separated from our biological families, most of all our birth mother. A lot of times we are neglected, put into foster care. We go home with strangers we don't know about, and we sever this connection that is, spiritual and physical. And when we're in our mom's womb, whoever knows what the hell goes on in that. But basically the fog is you're being gaslit. You don't understand that you're being gaslit. And then when you come out of the fog, you finally understand, holy shit, I've been getting gaslit by all these people. Who are you supposed to go to if your family is gaslighting you? They're not meaning to, but they're like, what my family did, whenever I asked them about adoption, they come at me and I try to ask them questions immediately. Well, you could have been born in an orphanage. Like, they get almost mad at me like I did something wrong. Like, I'm like wondering about my adoption and like issues that come up with it. And they're like, well, you're being ungrateful. Well, I go to professionals. I've been to at least 10 over the years. I'm now 39, so I've been to a few. First thing that comes up as far as adoption, on the topic of adoption. I was adopted. Well, therapist goes, well, aren't you grateful? Because they don't know anything about, they're not educated in adoption. So, and I've heard plenty of stories on this. It's heartbreaking. It is not fair. It is unintentional gaslighting. It is not helping anybody to ask if you're grateful. And the fact is, yes, I'm grateful. I'm very happy to be adopted in my adopted family rather than go through the foster system. And I met my biological family when I was 21. I am very happy I did not get adopted or did not get raised by them. It was a very dysfunctional family in poverty and addiction. So yes, I am very grateful, but that does not mean that we can deny everything else that is lost. And basically I want to start this channel to help connect adoptees, adopted families, get a clearer picture on the adoptee experience and what I've learned from other adoptees and from books I'm reading, because there is a false narrative that is Adoption is nothing but a gift. Adoption is nothing but giving them a better home. You are taken out and you are saved from the foster care system and living this horrible life that you could have had, and you could have been fostered and be homeless, and all this other shit could have happened to you. But because you were saved, now your life is great and you have no problems, and you're the one to blame. And why the fuck aren't you grateful? It's a horrible place to be. It's confusing. And coming out of the fog was a big shock, especially 38 years old. It was a terrifying experience, to say the least, being in the fog, because no one believes you around you, and not even professionals, not your family, not your friends. And for me, I never identified with any other adoptees. That's another reason why I'm starting this channel. If I could help one other adoptee out there watch this video or watch these videos and say, holy shit, is that what's happening to me? Help them process what's going on in their head, because we have a head full of lies and a heart full of fucking trauma that nobody can identify, nobody can see. So I really, really, really want to change the narrative of adoption, that it's not all a great gift and adoptees aren't the ones to blame necessarily. It's the system. It's a multi-billion-dollar business that basically it's bad for business if they don't have a good promotion, which, you know, any good business needs to promote all the good stuff and leave out the bad, or else it's bad for business. And it's bad for business if, you know, the reality is, you know, adoption's based on trauma and loss, and that is kind of scary. But it's not that scary if you realize you can actually start helping others if we acknowledge the real trauma, the real loss, and everything that's goes along with adoption and relinquishment. And I'm gonna start a bunch of videos, hopefully help some adoptees out there feel acknowledged, get out of the fog. It's a horrible place to be. Just know that your experience is real. If you are an adoptee watching this, that there is extreme loss, extreme trauma, especially when it goes unacknowledged, unaddressed. It can be even more complicated and go all the way into adulthood. And the problems are real. They're not just in your head. I've had doctors laugh at me because I said a bunch of things, and they're just like, oh, you have anxiety. Oh, it's in your head. Oh, da, 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 da. And that doesn't help anybody. So I'm here to help. I can only give you my experience and what I've read and what other adoptees have said. I will help out with resources, with books, with websites, Facebook pages, and anything I can to help any other adoptees suffering out there, adoptive families, maybe adoptive parents wondering what the hell is going on with my child. I'm giving them everything they need to succeed, and they're just acting crazy. They're just, you know, and it's just such a common thing. It makes me sick to my stomach, because we're hurt children, we're hurt people, and if that goes unaddressed, I mean, what do you expect? So I'm gonna put out a lot more content on adoption and healing. I like to consider myself a recovering adoptee, because the shit I went through, all the gaslighting, all the trauma on top of the trauma that went unaddressed, just fucked up, okay? Excuse my language, it was fucked up, it's dark. I can get into it in another video. Love you all, hope that this channel helps you out.